Welcome everybody to what we call the MVP Options Community Conference Call. You guys all know the reason why we do this is to make it real. It's one thing to see people on the internet, on Instagram, even in the community, and it's another to actually see them in person, hear their story, hear about their successes and maybe some of their struggles. I think it just makes it more real, and I think it improves the experience for everybody involved. Also, because you guys all know my story. And so I was like, how many times can I tell my story? So with that, we have Miss Bianca. She is an option superstar. She's just been killing it lately. And I look, it's like always a highlight. It's always something cool going on. Most recently, she had a really successful trade. She made, I wanted to say $65,000 in one trade. But I mean, that's just a big trade. She's also had a lot of other really, really successful trades. So hopefully you guys have brought your questions. Hopefully you guys are going to be taking notes and pulling as much value out of this conversation as you can, because I know it's going to be filled with it. So welcome to the Options Community MVP. How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I am blessed. What part of the country are you in?
I'm in Phoenix, Arizona.
Phoenix. So you're not that far from me.
No, I'm not.
That's cool. So the first question I always ask is, who are you and where are you from? But let's see, like, where are you from, unless you're from Phoenix. Okay, from Chicago.
Yes.
So who are you? How would you explain who you are?
I am Bianca McKinney. I actually just started trading, I would say, within the last 3 months. I started due to being laid off from my job of 5 years due to COVID. With that, I have a friend named Sierra, who I had been watching on Instagram for months. She had just started trading, and I saw how excited she was about it. I literally watched her trades every single day. And one day she posted a trade where I believe she had invested about $3,000 and she made $12,000 from that $3,000. And that made me just jump in. Like I said, I had recently been laid off, so I didn't have a lot of money to start. I started with $600. And within about, I would say 2 weeks, I had turned that $600 into $8,000.
Wow.
From there, I started, just I did jump all in terms of trading. I wasn't scared. With the $8,000, I think I invested $6,000 of that $8,000 to get my first big profit, which was from Amazon. So yeah, I also have a credit repair business. So I was doing that as well. But with being laid off, I just wanted another way to, make sure that I would be able to provide for myself and for my son. So that's how I began trading.
What was your 9-to-5 job before you left?
I was a broker for a business financing company. So I had been doing that for 5 years. I was selling business loans. And with COVID and all these small businesses deciding to shut down and not really knowing, what they were going to do, the company pretty much laid off everyone. So.
Right, because businesses are like shutting down.
Exactly.
That stuff, and lenders are getting kind of freaked out.
Exactly.
How did your professional experience give you an advantage in trading and investing, if at all?
I would say definitely me. I've always been, the type of person where if I start a new job, I just jump all in terms of learning. I want to learn everything that I can possibly know because I just don't want to do anything, blindly. So I think that for sure helped me with investing. I took your course. I took a few other, shorter courses. I get online every day and do research. So it definitely helped me with just wanting to obtain as much knowledge as I possibly could.
Right. As a business broker, though, it seems like you have to analyze the financials of different businesses.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think that probably helps.
And I'm looking at the revenue, I'm looking at the debt, all of that. I guess it did play a role with that as well.
Sometimes people don't realize they have advantages. And there's nothing wrong with having an advantage because we all have an advantage in some capacity. It's just a matter of leveraging it into trading and investing. It might just be a company specific or industry specific advantage where you just know about healthcare and you understand the ongoings or whatever that happens to be. So definitely find whatever your advantage is and leverage it into success. So you were laid off, which means you probably weren't really willing to risk much capital. You probably wanted to conserve and take care of your bills. But how did you get the initial capital to start investing?
So I had a few thousand saved. Like I said, I started with 600, and then due to me being laid off, I kind of went all in on the credit repair business. So in the first month of me just doing that full time, I believe I made about 8,000, and I invested 6 of that 8.
Wow.
I wasn't scared at
Yeah.
all. I wasn't.
Credit repair business.
I believe I would be successful at it. So it
I
wasn't
have,
any fear for me.
I have a theory, and the theory is that I feel like jobs rob us of our true earning power and wealth.
Absolutely.
Do you think that having the free time, because some people are still trading around their job, do you think that
Right.
having the free time to run your business aggressively and also trade well has allowed you to make more money than you were at your job? Or
Absolutely.
do you
So
think,
with my job, I was making about 100,000 a year. Within this 3 months, I am now at 120,000 in total profit.
wow,
So
wow. And the crazy part about it is it amplifies. It's not just the money. Now it's like you have more capital to invest bigger. And
exactly.
now you take this big money, you flip that into even more successful trades, and now you're rich. I mean, that's dope. Where are my questions? What did your early trades look like? So what did those beginning trades look like for you?
The early trades were Facebook, Apple, Spotify, Beyond Meat. I'm also in the options community. So I get a lot of, like, initially I was pretty much getting all of my tips there in terms of like companies to go in on, when to go in, things like that. So that helped me a lot
Yeah.
immensely, especially in the first month, being in the options community, because I mean, you initially are just really gonna go with the companies that you're familiar with, like the Facebooks and Apples and things like that. But I definitely got a lot more insight in terms of those companies that I wasn't aware of, and have just been able to learn more about them. So, but initially, yeah, it was the typical Facebooks and Apples and things of that nature. The first big one that I did where I invested about 6,000 was Amazon.
Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
And the Amazon trade, you turned that from 6,000 into what?
11. So I made about 5,000 in profit.
Nice, nice. What brought you to, I mean, what are you looking for when you're looking for a trade? Like, what does that look like for you?
I look at news a lot. What I've been doing, so the first, I would say 2 months, I was kind of just going off of news. I would watch CNBC, I would go on Morningstar, I would go on Google Finance, Yahoo Finance, things like that. What I've been doing in the last month, which has been extremely successful for me, I've been trading with earnings.
Right,
So I go on Earning Whispers. I take a look at the earnings calendar. I draw out my list, usually on Sunday night. I take a look at the financials for the company. I take a look at all the news for any specific company that I know is going to be releasing earnings, and then I go from there.
yeah,
So, for instance, today, what was it? Yeah. No, yesterday after hours, Adobe and FedEx released earnings. So I did end up losing on Adobe, but I made about 4,000 on FedEx.
right. Um, that's dope. So when you're playing earnings, are you playing just single call and put? Are you doing straddles? What does that
I
look
typically only do, so I just started kind of, mingling with puts. Typically it's always calls.
like? Yeah. I like that though. I think that is cool because I think that when you're looking to place a certain trade, you're looking for certain things versus if you're just looking to kind of play it either way,
Yeah.
then you're not going to be as sharp. So like if
Yeah.
you know how to find a good call and always find a good call, you're probably going to find some good calls. But if you're
Exactly.
trying to be all fancy and schmancy,
Yeah, I haven't really done the straddling or anything like that as of yet. I kind of just wanted to, I've been going, piece by piece. I want to grasp one piece of information and perfect that, and then I kind of go from there. I did just purchase the advanced options course. So I've been watching that, and I want to, dig a little bit deeper into, different ways to invest. But as of now, I've just kind of been sticking with what works for me.
yeah. Um, when you're looking at a company's financials, how do you determine if they are good financials? What does that look like?
I mean, now that I'm still working on. So I will be honest, I'm still working on, knowing what to look for in terms of the financials. I do look at them. I look at the revenue and things like that. I look at the cost, but it's kind of blurry in terms of what it all means to me. So that's what I'm on now. And also I'm working on reading charts because I'm not very good at that. I think that has been the biggest challenge for me, but I'm definitely going to, be great at it. So I am working on the chart simply because I want to know more so when to enter and exit a trade. And I've had a lot of success. However, I've seen times where if I would have just held for maybe an additional hour, I would have made another $10,000. Or if I would have held for 30 more minutes, I could have made another 5,000. So I'm definitely working on, kind of getting a better understanding of what all of the financials mean, not just looking at the overall revenue and then the growth from year over year. I look at that a lot as well.
Year over year.
Yeah. But yeah, working on that and then just reading charts is kind of where I'm wanting to, focus more so on, because I feel like I'll be a lot more successful once I get the charts down packed as well.
Yeah. Charts are unique because there's so many patterns.
Yes.
And sometimes what you think is a pattern might not be a pattern. So I've always kind of honestly, I'm confused by the patterns in a lot of ways, and I need to sharpen that up as well. So I'm not like a chart talk. Speaking of the advanced course, Wale does talk about like different patterns that are good patterns. So that is something that people who are looking for some help with charts, that's good. And also just the book, Beginner's Guide on Day Trading, has a whole chart. He has a whole chapter where he goes over all that stuff, different chart patterns, and the options made easy. They have
I have the iBook for Options Made Easy. So I've been reading that as well. That's been helping a lot with understanding the charts.
Yeah. Let's see. How have your trades evolved now from like your earlier trades?
So I would say the biggest way in terms of how they evolved has been the number of contracts that I purchased. So initially, I would always typically just purchase one contract because, I didn't have enough capital to really jump in, and, I didn't necessarily want to risk my entire book with just one trade. So I would do one contract or maybe two. Now I'm at a point where if I have a lot of faith in the trade or in the call that I'm purchasing, I would now purchase 5 or 6 contracts.
Nice. Which amplifies your winnings.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's important. That's
a lot of what I saw in the community, because it would be like I would be scrolling and there were members in there that were doing the exact same trades that I was doing. However, they were making 5 and 6 times what I was making, and I would look and it would always be the number of contracts. That's what always made the difference. So I think I've definitely become a lot more comfortable in terms of just investing more.
Honestly, I wish I was a part of a trading community when I started. One of the things is like it just puts a lot more eyes on the market because it's really difficult to see every opportunity. But if you have other people out there and they're watching it and you're watching it and somebody else is watching it, now you have 1,000 people watching different stocks. And so it allows you to find more opportunity. That's cool.
Yes.
What indicators do you use?
They would, for $19 a month, I mean, the benefit that you receive from it is a lot greater than $19 a month.
I agree. Do you use any indicators like moving averages, RSI, any of that stuff?
No.
Just straight chart?
Yes.
Line chart or candle chart?
I've just started doing the candle chart. Initially, it was all line, but now I'm doing the candle charts as well, just to see like, the volume in terms of people getting in and getting out.
And do you use Robinhood or do you use like other Weebles, that kind of stuff?
Only Robinhood. I did just download Thinkorswim. I haven't really messed with it too much. Robinhood is just a lot easier for me to understand.
Right. Do you think that people overcomplicate this stuff?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Like, I just feel like so many people they're looking to find that one edge that's going to help them just make all the money.
Yes. it as simple as you possibly can. Robinhood, and especially because of like all of the different articles that are, you know, on Robinhood, that helps a lot. But yeah, Robinhood is definitely
They have a ton
as
of data just there.
simple as it gets.
Yeah, they have data. They use colors,
Yes.
um, different shapes, really help you see it, and also they eliminate a lot of the stuff that's not really helpful. So yeah, a lot of people they'll like even with just bid and ask, they already tell you where to put it. Like
I
okay,
know. I downloaded Thinkorswim and I took a look at it maybe twice and I was just like, no.
yeah, yep. I don't think it's necessary. We got a question here from Marlon. Uh, let me see. I don't normally take questions, but we'll take one now. Why not? Welcome, Marlon. You are now live.
Yes, good evening. I just had a quick question. How often how far out do you normally purchase your options? Because I see, because I normally read and they say don't purchase it within a week or try to get it, you know, as long as possible. I guess what is your strategy on purchasing, like, as far as like how far out?
I typically go at least 2 weeks out.
At
That's
least.
my safe space. Probably from watching, you know, when I took the course, I said at least 2 weeks. So I typically go 2 weeks and it's worked for me.
Yeah. I like it. Thank you for that question. Yeah, good question. What things are you doing to improve your trades?
I read a lot. So like I said, I've been reading Options Made Easy. Another book that comes with the DVD is called Follow the Smart Money.
Right.
I do a lot of research. Like I said, I just purchased the advanced options course just because I want to learn as much as I possibly can. This is now something that I see myself doing for the rest of my life and teaching my, you know, my child now and my future kids how to trade. So at this point in my life, I can never see myself working for anyone else. So I want to perfect this as much as I possibly can because I want to be successful.
Yeah, and the opportunity is definitely there.
Yes.
It's so funny because it's like it's the same stock market. It's just a different way to approach the stock market. And that's what makes it so great is it's not like it's a foreign language or a currency or a commodity. It's Apple. It's Tesla. We know Apple and Tesla.
Exactly. So one thing for me for sure is, you know, if there are courses out there, take them. If it's $100, $150, whatever it may be, it's worth it. Right. I wouldn't know anything that I know today if I had not taken the course. I get a lot of people that are like, you know, can you tell me what you're going to go in on this day? And I don't have enough time to purchase the course and all of that. And when I purchased the course initially, I was working full time. I was running a business and a single mom. So I feel like if I had the time to take it, even if it was in the middle of the night, everyone has a time. You just have to make the time if that's what you want to do. If you want to be successful, if you want to see profit, you have to.
Yeah. I took like a weekend and I was like, you know what? Instead of watching Netflix or YouTube, I'm just gonna watch all the courses I bought. I still have more courses I need to watch, but yeah, just invest that time and just replace something that you'll be using that's maybe mindless or not advancing you with something that could potentially advance you.
Exactly.
Let's see. So I take this question says, how early do you go in before earnings? A lot of people do ask that question because a lot of times people in the community, they play the run up to earnings and they don't even swing or hold through earnings.
Right. Yeah, I typically purchase either the day before or 2 days before.
Well,
and then I definitely hold through earnings.
And then this question is, do you have a percentage of where you take your profit?
No, I jump on it as soon as I see it.
Yeah.
That, you know, it bites me a little bit because I see, you know, a friend or someone in the community where they held for maybe another hour and they made way more money, but I've also seen where they held and they lost everything.
Exactly.
So I take it.
Right. It's funny because I made all my money swing trading through earnings. And of course there's good earnings and bad earnings.
Yeah.
But like I started second guessing my own strategy because people are like, oh man, I'm not gonna hold through earnings. And then hearing your story, it's like, it works.
It does.
That's how you make the big money.
It does work. I mean, you can, obviously, it's not all wins. You can lose money as well. Like today, I lost, I believe it was $4,000 with Adobe.
Mm-hmm.
I still have another week to see if it'll go back up. But for the most part, it's worked for me. It worked for me.
Yeah. And then sometimes you'll get like a super home run like Zoom, and it just be nuts.
And
So
I could not, and Zoom was actually the amount of profit that I got was an accident. So I bought Zoom the day before earnings released. Clearly, everyone was trying to get into Zoom at that time. So Rob kind of crashed a little bit. And so I initially went in to buy 3 contracts. That's all I wanted to purchase was 3 contracts. And I tried to cancel because it wasn't going through because Robinhood was down. So then I thought I canceled because they said, okay, it's under review. We'll let you know once it's canceled. So I went back in to do another 3 because that order didn't go through. So it was kind of an accident with me purchasing 6 contracts. I initially only wanted to purchase 3. But when I woke up about 15 minutes later, my order had been executed on all 6. So I held. And I probably invested about 70% of my book in terms of the value on Zoom. So money into Zoom. It worked out.
So what do you do with that kind of money? Like, are you just going to retire, reinvest it, buy a house?
Reinvest.
Buy some Gucci shoes?
Both that too, but for sure.
Reinvest it. Absolutely. It's so funny, like, when you have large money, small blips make you large money. Yeah. So you make 10% on 100 grand, you just made $10,000. That's not bad.
Exactly.
So that's why I always tell people, like, use options to run your bag up, and then you can kind of invest just in flat stocks. Or if you want to continue to do the options thing, by all means. And
so as of now, I actually have not purchased a single stock. So
really?
I do start that as well. For me, as of right now, it's been all options.
Yeah. That's dope. That is dope.
Yeah.
Let's see. This question, I don't know if I asked this, but I think I did not. Do you have a percentage where you take your profit? Did I ask that question?
Yeah, you did. Okay. So for me, I take it as soon as I see it.
Right.
I hold for about 15 minutes just to see like if it'll go up a little bit more, but nothing beyond that. And I watch it the entire time.
The entire time. Because if you take your eye off it, it might not be what you want to see.
Hey, yes.
Man, you got to watch it. Do you only buy your contracts while the market is open, or do you buy them like before the open or after the close and the off hours?
Only while the market is open. I typically purchase right before close, and then I sell at open. So that's for me. Purchase at sell at open.
I kind of do the same thing. Let's see. Are most of your plays day trades? It sounds like they're swing trades.
I typically swing trade. If it's a day where my swing trade didn't typically, if it didn't do really good or I didn't see what I wanted to see, I'll then look at the companies that I know are, the ones that are typically going to do well. So I'll hop in a day trade for Tesla, or I'll hop in a day trade for Amazon. And that's only if my swing trade didn't do well.
Let's see. Let's see. Man, I think we kind of went over all my questions. Man, what was your most successful trade?
Zoom, for sure. So I made a total profit. I invested a little bit over 11,000 in Zoom, and I made a total profit of 69,000.
So when you sold, it was like 80 grand on
Correct.
the board.
And I woke everybody in the house.
I would too.
I bought everybody because I couldn't believe it. I honestly felt like, just from watching other people, I thought that I would have had to been doing this for a year or 2 years or 3 years before I would make that kind of profit. And I couldn't even sleep. I watched Zoom because it was after hours. It was shooting up, pre-marketed shot up. So I couldn't even sleep because I was just like, based on what I'm seeing, if these numbers remain the same, like I knew it was going to be an extremely successful trade. So I couldn't even sleep, but definitely Zoom.
It's crazy. It almost feels fake. It's like, do I deserve all this money in here? But
Yes, for
they give
sure.
it to you.
For sure.
Let's see. Oh, I did have some other. Oh, what is your best advice that you would give to somebody who's looking to be successful?
I would say my best piece of advice would be to trade through the losses, because it can definitely be discouraging. If you have 2 or 3 trades, for your first few, you win, and then you may lose big or even lose just once. It does become, a little just you don't it becomes a little discouraging. So just trade through the losses is my best piece of advice, because if I would have stopped simply because I was losing, I wouldn't be as successful as I am now. It's gonna be a learning curve. Especially if it's something that you're just starting to do, you're new to it. There's gonna be a curve, so it's gonna be losses, and just trade through them.
I feel like the reason why that advice is so key is because it sharpens you up. And so you're going to look at things differently. You're going to watch that video again. You're going to read those articles, all the things you might have been skipping over.
Exactly.
You're not going to skip over those things anymore. So I think that's important, to not give up, but to just kind of like
even
practice.
if you have to, lower the amount that you're investing, go back to the companies that you started with, like the Facebooks and things like that, just to get your cash up where it needs to be. Just keep going. Don't stop. That's my best piece of advice.
Don't stop. Get it.
Yeah.
Let's see. I got some questions. Oh, this is a good question. It says, do you typically trade right in the money, or how do you kind of pick your strike price compared to the actual stock price?
Yes, typically right in the money. So usually it's the one right below the share price line, or for a put right above.
I like it. This question says, any upcoming potential plays on your watch list?
As of right now, no, but I do intend on doing some research tonight. Like I said, for this week, I was really only watching Adobe and FedEx. So I am going to be doing some research tonight to figure out what's next and what's, on my plate for tomorrow and Friday.
When you are looking at that earnings whispers chart, do you only pick a certain few, or how do you I guess, whittle away at the stocks that you want to play on that one?
Yes, I do typically just pick a certain few. Like I said, I did just start, getting into puts. So if it's something on there that I feel like, okay, especially due to COVID, they couldn't have done well, I'll maybe put a put on that particular company, but I typically only pick a few, 2 or 3.
I think that's important also, because it's tough to analyze something thoroughly if you're looking at 20 things.
Yes.
Oh man, you got to fall in love. You got to really immerse yourself in it. Don't just be out here trying to date the stock.
Yeah.
Let's see. Do you stick to a set chosen list of stocks, or do you explore all the stocks that are trending?
I explore everything. So I definitely don't stick with a certain list. Like I said, if I'm having a bad day, I go back to that list of, what I'm familiar with. But besides that, no, I'll explore anything.
Let's see. Let me see. When you flipped the initial 600 to 8,000, was that on one play or multiple plays in that 2-week period?
That was on multiple plays. So that was me continuously getting in and out of Spotify, continuously getting in and out of Facebook, continuously getting in and out of Apple, and I believe Starbucks, also NVIDIA. So it was a few different plays, definitely not just one.
Let's see. Let's see. Do you ever average down on plays that you are down on, or do you just cut your losses?
I typically just cut my losses.
Why is that?
I don't know, honestly. I never really average down though. I typically just will, if it's a loss, for me, it's just a loss.
I agree. The reason why I usually just cut my losses is because first and foremost, you don't want to turn a trade into an investment. And then typically the reason why you're in that trade is because you expected something to happen on that date.
Right.
And if it didn't happen, or if it did happen and then the result wasn't what you expected, you're probably just delaying the inevitable.
Exactly.
So it's better to sell and then start looking for another opportunity than to just fall in love with this opportunity, because you don't have to make the money back the way you lost it. You can go back to Facebook and go back to Apple or go back to whatever that new opportunity is. So that's why I do that. Let's see. Do you have a certain, we already went over that, Eric, I'm sorry, but she was asking if you have a certain percentage gain that you look for when you close a contract. And she said not necessarily. She really just looks for the profit that she gets. And that's what she exits with. Here's more questions. What other books do you recommend?
So far, those are the only two that I've read. I obviously recommend your course. I market it. I get plenty of sales from it. Another course that I took that was very helpful for me was by Chris Johnson. It was called Stock Market Gems.
Very important.
So for that one, and then of course your course, and then for me with the books that I've read so far, it's only been Options Made Easy, and then Follow the Smart Money.
So this question, Angie Medina, we asked it already. It's any favorite indicators, RSI, EMA, Bollinger Bands. And then she said that she doesn't use indicators. She trades the chart, which honestly, I don't know if you got this from Ian Dunlap, but Ian, the master investor, he said he doesn't use indicators either. I think he uses like maybe the 20-day moving average, but that's about it. So you don't need the indicators. Indicators are kind of like training wheels. They hold you up, but you can also ride without them. Any recommended YouTube channels?
No, I actually don't watch YouTube. Not as of yet. I guess I should start maybe, because a lot of people say that they get a lot of information about options and just trading in general from YouTube. I try to watch the people that I'm familiar with. I watch you a lot. I do watch Chris Johnson a lot. So not really YouTube though.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I guess I'm not a YouTuber.
I love YouTube. That's all I watch is YouTube.
I haven't gotten into it, not as of yet.
But I usually watch YouTube just for the like the interviews, not so much the options. Because sometimes it can be boring.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna lie. Sometimes, and there'll be like really long videos and they take forever to get to the.
But it was initially, I tried to go look at YouTube videos, and there were two like just dreadful videos that I watched, and since then I haven't been able to get into the YouTube.
Let's see. Angie Medina said she got here late. You mentioned you played 2 to 3 weeks out. Are you referring to 2 to 3 weeks out expiration, or
Correct.
2 to 4 earnings?
For expiration. So with earnings, I don't go in, maybe 2 days before earnings release, typically the day before. But with expiration, I typically go out 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Let me see. I think we got all the questions. I mean, I'm hitting them as they come through. Is there anything that you would want to talk about that I haven't asked you about?
Pretty much that's it. I definitely wanted to talk about people trading through the losses, because I think for most people that I've been in contact with that have started trading simply from seeing me trade, a lot of what I experience is like, okay, I did it once, I lost $100, I'm never doing it again. And you will not win that way. You will not learn that way. And you also can't expect someone to learn for you. You have to be willing to do the research. You have to be willing to take courses and read books. And, you know, if you're going to do it, do it.
I concur. This question asks, how do you trade on the earnings that release after market close?
So I buy before market closes, typically a day before. So if it's releasing after hours on one day, I've already purchased the day prior.
Dope. Man, what's your favorite stock again?
My favorite is probably Tesla.
Tesla. People have been killing it with Tesla. I own some Tesla, but I haven't traded Tesla, but I'm happy to see people have been having some success with Tesla.
Yeah, I love Tesla.
Yeah, people bought it at the split, but it's still giving them some profit after it fell. That's cool to see.
Absolutely. So typically it's still been going up, you know, $30 to $50 a day. So that's still a profit of $3,000 to $5,000 if you're just buying one contract. So Tesla's kind of my go-to. I also like Amazon. Amazon has been kind of up and down, so I've been shying away from them a little bit, but Tesla for sure.
Let's see. You would never do as a beginning trader? That's a good question.
I would never put everything into one trade. So I would never put all of my money into one trade, just hoping that it works. And then I would also never simply choose to invest in a company based off of what everyone else is saying without doing no research of my own. So, you know, you see a lot of that, especially with people being in the community. They just go on, you know, based off what someone else says. They don't do any research whatsoever, and then they get angry when they lose. So even if someone is giving you, you know, tips or indicators on, you know, which companies to invest in, you still have to be willing to do your own research.
You still got to do your own research. And sometimes they're flying by so fast that it's tough to do that.
Yeah.
That's one of the things is like, they're telling you like, it might be a little bit too late. So
Exactly.
call outs aren't my favorite thing in the world.
Yes, I enjoy that as well. I get on there like every night, every morning. I'm on there pretty much all day. And it took me a while to start posting, I think, because you see so many people on there and, you know, with one trade, they profit 10,000 and 15,000. So it's like, oh, I don't really want to post my $1,000 profit, but just posting in general, it helps you get more engaged.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. You know, I think we covered everything. Do you use any of the Greeks when you're trading?
No, I don't. I did watch, you know, videos on it, but I typically don't use them.
I don't know if they're really helpful.
Yeah, I typically don't
Because
use
we're
them.
trading the stock, right? And
Yeah, and I
so
see people in the community, they really use the Greeks, but I typically don't.
yeah. Well, I won't hold you. I think we got a lot of information. We answered all the questions. And it was cool to see you in person. We see you
Thank
online.
you. Definitely going to be booking a tutoring session. So look out for me.
Cool. So thank you guys. I'm going to drop the recording inside of the community. And thank you guys all for participating and just being involved with what we're doing. So good luck to you all. And let's make some money. All right. Good night.